how did that kind of, I'll say it, hose job, did that, how motivational was that, guys? Did that propel you in any sort of way, fuel you last week and again this week?
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing. What makes matters worse is I'm actually on that national committee. Okay. There's only 8 of us on that committee. And so I had to sit on that for 12 hours before it was announced. And my rage was then. So by the time it got announced, I knew our kids would be upset. And by the time we hit practice, they were still upset, but I was able to finally move on from it. But it was disappointing. But I'm privy to the numbers, so I understand probably a deeper reason why than everyone else, even though I can't share it. It's numbers with the NCAA, and there's some goofy things, and when things are so close and it's really tough, they have to make a decision. When you're on that committee, though, when they're talking about your team, you're released from the phone call. So I have no clue what was actually really said. I just know exactly what happened when I came back on.
Don't know what was said. Don't know what bribes were made.
No.
Who knows? I know.
But yes, our kids definitely did use it as motivation, and they were still probably pretty mad. When we were traveling down to southern Arkansas, we had to go from Sioux Falls to Denver to Little Rock, then get on a bus in Little Rock and drive 2 hours to get into where we were staying, which was 48 minutes away from the actual venue. And we didn't get in until past midnight. So our kids were a little hot. But the next day going into practice, I sat them down and I said, hey, you guys, you got to move on. In life you're going to get disappointed. You're going to do what you feel is everything the right way, and still things might not work out for you. So you really have a choice. You can play the victim and have a victim mentality, or you can do something about it.
Man, that kind of pissed off mentality worked once, so
yeah,
maybe it'll work again.
Yeah, I had people, texting me, especially former players, saying, I wouldn't want to deal with a pissed off Augie softball team or a pissed off. They call themselves the Brotherhood, pissed off Brotherhood.
Okay.
It was definitely fuel, but it was a really tough region. The teams down there were really, really good. Mm-hmm. And there's also something about being on the road at this time of year, because you know what? We're still in classes. So when we're on the road, the kids don't have to deal with their classes. They don't have to worry about everything that's going on around them. So sometimes it can be a blessing to actually be on the road, because you're just doing your own thing, and we're together, and we're just focused on us. So I feel like we flipped it into the right thing and went in there and played really well in a really, really tough region. Those teams were very, very good.
As you've come along in a seasoned career now, the ability to communicate as in the same way that you might communicate to your son as a young hockey player to your softball players. How much of a part of success is that?
I would say it is. It's a majority of the success.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have talented teams, you're going to have talented players. For us at Augustana, I feel like we always get a certain type of kid. We're going to always have that talent. It's all the intangibles. That's what makes a kid really go from good to great. That's what makes teams go from good to great. That's what makes great cultures. It is all of that stuff. So I would say it's you have to have talent.
Yeah.
You always have to have that. It's the other stuff. That's the separator between great programs, great coaches, great players, good players.
Did you ever struggle early in your career with knowing the right thing to say in a crucial moment of a big game?
I would say yes. The more you do this, the more seasoned you are, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a real, if you had feeling versus thought, I'm a real on the feeling side.
Yeah.
And gut instinct on what to say to kids and how to handle them and things like that. But yeah, it's taken years upon years to get to the point where you do know what to say, and also you know whether it's maybe you need to push a little bit or you need to put an arm around them and give them a hug and boost them up. But we still make mistakes all the time, and say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or use the wrong motivational tool, even when you have 27 years of experience.
Right.
But you become a lot better at being willing and okay with admitting your failures.
For some people who don't mind the weather here, it's probably tough to leave Sioux Falls, just for the kind of town it is, both to live in as a young adult and then a parent. I'm going to guess that's played a factor as well.
Yeah. And I also took care of both my parents as they aged before they passed away. So you add all of those things in the mix, and it wasn't just about like, okay, well, climbing the softball ladder and jumping to Division I and going, to southern, climates. It was okay. What's best for everybody involved in this situation, and at certain times it was, I didn't want to pick up and try to move my dad out of a nursing home or a senior living facility or something like that, but it just goes back to, again, my personality fits Augustana.
Yeah,
that's the right fit for me.
I'm not gonna lie. If someone were to, show, if you could think Augustana softball coach,
the blonde, blue-eyed, Scandinavian. Yep.
Greta Melsted.
Yep.
What kind of things did you have to bring to, and obviously talent's a first answer. I'm guessing to really get it zipping to a national level that it is at now.
I would say probably having those expectations of yourself and your teammates, and holding each other accountable, holding yourself accountable and others accountable for those expectations. That, I would say, that's probably what I brought. And we're all about building, and we won't apologize for it, very, very strong women. We want to produce very, very confident, strong women who feel like they can go and change the world. And so that's what we're about. We just use softball as the venue, and I think the more I coach, the more I've been okay about. I think that's always been my goal, but it's more what we focus on. And trust me, we focus on the X's and O's and the details of softball, but we really try to put everything in the context of, like, bigger life lessons and keeping things in perspective and being able to handle yourself when you leave and life throws you curveballs and things like that. I think that's really what my job is.